Okay. I know we alive, we alive, we alive, we alive. What's good, what's good, what's good, family, what's good? What's popping? Now, let's give this, a little time to load. First off, you know how we always, start this build. Like to give acknowledgement to the Great Spirit. Okay, we got audio, Good. Give me a second here. All right, so we got audio. All right. First off, like to start off the build, by saying giving thanks, to the Great Spirit, giving thanks to the Most High. All right. And secondly, I'd like to acknowledge my ancestors and give all praise due to them, for using me as a vessel, like I've always asked, to be used as a vessel. The information that I bring on this platform is pretty much public information, but as you know, a certain demographic of the population, a lot of this knowledge is hidden from them, and they always say, well, if you want to hide anything from a what, put it in a book. Well, I have made it part of my mission, to read these books and do intensive research and build, with other like minds to bring the information to you. You feel me? So with that being said, we have a great build today as usual, and we're going to get into some things. Now, some of the information, some of you may be already privy to the information, and if you are, that's great. Please do me a favor and do not interrupt the chat for those of the people who don't know. All right, because a lot of times when we have people on the chat giving all types of different information, especially when the information could be a little bit contradictory, it creates a platform, where there's, I wouldn't say chaos, but confusion. All right, and I choose not to dwell or walk in confusion. My thing is about bringing the truth, because only the truth could liberate the mind of the people, whether you're an Aborigine or not. We all need the truth. You feel me? And there's no such thing as half truth or some truth. No, I am walking in the truth. There's no such thing as half the light. No, it's either you in darkness or you in the light. So I choose to walk in the light. And this platform will always reflect truth, integrity, honesty. Okay. And once again, guests that I have on the platform, a lot of their views may be just their views, but regardless, nonetheless, everybody has a right to feel the way they feel. Okay. But as the admin of this platform, I want to make sure that it remains authentic and truthful. We had a great build with some of the matriarchs, last, sun rest, and everybody had a great time. And I just want you to know that more of those builds are actually coming. Some of the sisters who didn't get a chance to get on, they were a little bit disappointed, but I let them know, hey, don't worry about that. Okay, you will have an opportunity to bring what you have to bring to the people. So once again, this is just the beginning. I'm excited. We are living in a beautiful time, and I'm just here to share information with you, and that's it. All right. And as you can see, the title of the video is A Comprehensive Breakdown of the Birth Certificate. Now, when I use the term comprehensive, okay, I'm talking about a comprehension of the breakdown of the birth certificate from my own studies, all right, from my own perspective in terms of my research. Now, someone else may have different views, okay? I always tell people I am a master student, all right? I'm still learning, and I claim to be an idiot, all right? I'm an idiot, I'm a fool, because when you see, my thing is, any man or woman who profess to know it all, you feel me? They don't know anything. So therefore, I tend to remain, this empty vessel, so that the Most High, my ancestors, could feed me the information that I so seek, the information that I so long for, I thirst for. And that's why I'm always in a continuous mode of researching, studying, meditating, asking for guidance, all right? Because I'm not here to do the will of man. I'm here to do the will of the Creator. I'm here to do the will of my ancestors. You feel me? And that, to me, there is no greater honor than to be put in such a position. And that's all I'm doing. So with that being said, I'm not here to appease anybody, make anybody happy because they want to hear certain things. No, I'm going to tell you the truth as as it's presented to me. All right. So for those of you once again who appreciate and just want to support the channel and the work that I do, the super chat is in the link below. Man, you know, there are a lot of people like me that's doing a lot of work, intensive work, hard work, a lot of research, spending their time bringing that stuff to you. And it to me is just, it is just a natural thing to reciprocate the love. You know what I mean? So the super chat is there, and you're not obligated, of course, but it would be appreciated. So with that being said, let's get into this build. And you know, I wasn't sure if I was gonna do that build. I mean, I know I was gonna do a build today because I have an event to go to at 7 p.m. But I wasn't really sure what it was gonna be about. But this came to my spirit, so this is what I'm gonna share with you. And one of the reasons is because, for those of you who know, I wrote a book called, you know, Everyone's a Slave Unless. And I know a couple of sisters, you know, Shelly, the twins, they're actually waiting for copies, but it's actually on its way. I don't know why it's taking so long, but it's on its way. So let's put it that way. Hopefully it will be here by Thursday so they could get the book by this, you know, by within the next 96 hours. All right. But when I use the term that everyone is a slave, a lot of people tend to take offense to that. You know, oh, well, we're not slave anymore. Because you are not enslaved physically, it doesn't mean that you are not enslaved. Okay? Now that could be looked at from so many different, you know, perspectives. But the truth of the matter is, even if, let's not even talk about physical slavery right now, in terms of the chains, all right? Of course, we know mental slavery exists, but there's another kind of slavery, all right? And it's a slavery that exists on paper. And a lot of people are missing that. They are missing that whole point, all right? So I'm gonna bring that to light and show you how you're actually enslaved on paper when you think you're free, because you're living a fabricated life. You're living an illusion. And most people think because they're able to get up, go to work, look at the basketball game, look at football, look at baseball, go to the party, buy cars, you know, go to the clubs and turn up. You know, they think that they are free. But brothers and sisters, this is so far away from the truth. And the information I'm going to bring to you today, I mean, literally, it involves everybody, not just Aborigines. Okay? So I just wanted to point that out. And thank you, Onyx, for, you know, for you know, the love on that. So I just want to acknowledge each and every one of you that's actually on the chat right now, and for those that's coming in later, you know, sending a lot of great positive energy your way. So let's take it from the beginning, shall we? All right. We all know that the United States, you know, was founded, or officially, that is, in 1776, right? Before 1776, officially, there was no United States. Now, before the United States, you had, you know, the colonies, all right, the 13 colonies. Before the 13 colonies, you had just, and in regards to the Aborigines, the American Indians, all right, you had us living on the land as sovereigns, okay? We were living on the land as the landlords, the people who held the allodial rights to the land, okay? Also, there were other people, invaders, that were coming in, all right? They were coming in, but no structure had already been set. In other words, we already had governments, we already had structures, we already had foundation, we already had that. So I just want to make sure that's clear, okay? To make sure that's clear. We already had these structures. We already had governmental institutions. It may not have been the way it is now, okay? In terms of the government have control of the people, no. We always had a system where there was balance, okay? Everyone had a voice, and it wasn't just one man could just take a pen and, you know, write an executive order and it changed everybody's lives. No, that wasn't the case. There was a council, or we had structure in place. So I want to make that clear. So when we speak of the United States, we are only speaking of an entity that was created on our land. I have to make that clear. And another thing which I have pointed out in many videos, and I'm going to reiterate, is that the United States is not America. Okay? I'm going to repeat myself. The United States is not America. America is a landmass, okay, that's considered to be a continent, whether you believe it or not. North, South, and Central America is they're continents. Some people may say there are 3 different continents, but I say that it's all Turtle Island, right? Now, the United States is an entity that was founded on our land. So therefore, if the United States was founded on our land and we were sovereigns before the United States, why should our status change? Because foreigners came into our land and established a foundation, an organization on our land. Why should we be subjected to that organization or that entity? So once again, I'm breaking this down so that a 2-year-old could comprehend what I'm saying. You feel me? And I'm going to give you another analogy. If I have my house, okay, my family have been in this house for generations and generations, for eons, right? And you come into my fold, meaning that you come into my home as a guest. And I invited you as a guest. You were destitute, you were hungry, you were shipwrecked, okay? I mean, you had no concept of what it meant to live life. You were in a survival mode because you were fleeing from your masters wherever you came from. Okay? You were seeking refuge, seeking a better life. And you came into my home and I acknowledge you as another human being. Great, perfect. You pretended to be my friend. Okay? You call me brother. I give you my bed to sleep on. I told you, hey, you could go into my refrigerator and eat all my food. It's okay. And I even went to the extent and say, all right, you know what I'm going to do is this. I have a home. I have 10 bedrooms. I'm going to give you and your family a bedroom. Your family. But as time progresses, you got comfortable. You got egotistical. You got greedy. And all of a sudden, you started, occupying other rooms in the home without my permission. Okay? Well, that's not true. With permission, you asked if you could use another room. And I said, okay, you know what? What's the big deal? It's no big deal. I mean, I have 10 rooms. I only have 2 children. So why not? You got more children than I do. So, it's okay, brother. You could have another room. But then once you have realized, okay, my generosity, once you have studied and understood, okay, the nature of my family, that we are a loving, giving people, you took advantage of the situation and now you started imposing yourself in my home and started occupying other rooms in my home without my consent. Okay? And all of a sudden, before I knew it, what did you do? You in my house giving me contracts, telling me what I can and what I cannot do in my home. And so we started to fight. Here I am in my home. I've always been here. You came as a stranger. I invited you. You disrespected me. And now we are fighting in my home. I'm talking about years and years of war in my home. And because you couldn't defeat me, what did you do? You went back from where you came from. You got some help. And you came in full force, full throttle, and took over my home. And not just take over my home, but you changed the dynamics of my home, the foundation of my home, and gave it a whole new name with your people that you brought into my home and call it the United Home. Brothers and sisters, that is what happened. Okay? That is what happened. So my question to you today is this. Should the people that came into my home, the people that I helped, the people that were destitute, that were hungry, should these people be allowed to tell me what to do in my home? Should I and my family, should we be living or be subjected to these foreigners who came into my home, claiming my home to be theirs? No, that question may be rhetorical, but it's a question that I would like for you to answer, because I know the answer to myself. I know how to answer the question in truth. But that's a question that I have for you today. Okay? Do these people have the right, or should we, okay, as the original people of that land, be subjected to the rules and codes of these foreigners who came into our land? And should they force us to assimilate into their codes or their societies? So when I break these things down, I'm breaking it in layman's terms. Okay, I'm breaking it down so that a child could really vision what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is exactly what happened. All right, now many of your elders, our elders will let you know. Now, if you so choose to force your people to have birth certificates, then that's okay. But the people that you met here, okay, and their descendants, their children, we should not be forced, okay, to have birth certificates, but it's a matter of choice. Do we know this? They tell you it's law, but it's not law. Okay, they are not laws. You feel me? They make you think it's a law. Because you pick up a pen and you write something, it's not law. What's law is what nature. Law exists in nature. Okay? Law exists in nature. The law comes from the Most High. And what did the Most High say? The Most High said that I will put the laws in the hearts and mind of men. Now, some people may say, well, Chief, you're getting biblical. Hey, listen, man, I don't subscribe to the Bible as a book that came from a spook, okay? The Bible to me is a book that was written by men that have some jewels in it if you really understand what you're reading, okay? But for those who are not strong enough mentally, I suggest you don't pick up that book, because it will take you to the same place they're telling you to avoid. Is going to take you there, which is a place of condemnation. Okay? So the point I'm trying to make is we should not be subjected to another society's codes and rules and laws. Okay? Because before your inception on our land, we had what was called law. L-O-R-E. And what is law? L-O-R-E. Law, L-O-R-E, is the spoken word. Okay? Traditionally, we had a rich oral history. So I'm taking you back to the beginning, before they started forcing us to assimilate. And let us not blame this on Caucasians. It's not Caucasians. Okay? We have more people like us that are actually in these positions, okay, forcing us to assimilate. Brothers and sisters, you have to have a complete understanding of history, of knowing exactly who did what and at what time. Okay? The truth of the matter is, the people who are running this game, because it's a game, they're all actors. The actors that are running the script, the majority of them, they are not Caucasians. Okay? They are mulattoes. It's a society, the boule. You feel me? And they are working in conjunction with both sides, but they are favoring their Caucasian ancestors, because in their script, their mothers, which is the American Aboriginal woman, and her children, they have to remain slaves because we put them in a category that was called Negroes and blacks and African Americans. So let us stop playing the blame game and blaming Caucasians. The majority of the Caucasians are in the same boat. All right? They are in the same predicament. They are also enslaved. You feel me? The only difference is they are playing the role of the house slave opposed to the field slave. Okay? So we have to learn to put this history, his story, into its proper perspective, or else we will never figure this out or come out of the game that is being played on us. It's a script. They're all actors. And like I've told y'all before, Jamie Foxx did a magnificent role playing the role of Ray Charles. But is Jamie Foxx Ray Charles? No. He's an actor who was given a script, and he studied the script and he played the role magnificently, may I add. It is the same thing with these politicians, your celebrities that you idolize, and you know that there shall be no idols. Okay? We should not idolize any celebrities. For one, the majority of them I have no respect for because they know the truth and they have sold their soul to deceive the people. So I have no respect for them. They have no honor. They have no integrity. And that is just my personal opinion, by the way. And I'm entitled to that. So know exactly what happened, how it happened, and when it happened. Because certain words are used in certain eras that mean something different than it is today. Okay? So we have to know these things. You feel me? So going back to the point that I'm making, the foundation of this build is that the question to you is this: should we, as the original people, be subjected to codes and laws of another society? Okay, foreigners, immigrants, the real immigrants who came into our land, should we be forced to follow their codes and their rules? That's a question that you need to ask yourself. Okay? So now that you know the United States was created, founded on our land, and that's when everything changed. Okay? All the codes, all the statutes. Now it became commercialized. Okay? Commercialized. That hence the whole matrix of commerce came in. The matrix is the commercial world. That is the matrix. In the commercial world, what do you have? You have agents and agencies. In the matrix, what do you have? Mr. Smith was a what? An agent. So they're speaking of the commercial world. And to step into the commercial world, you have to know what the matrix is. You have to know what the commercial world is. Because the commercial world is public. Okay? So when you step into public as a private man or woman, you have to know how to enter into the public. Okay? You have to know. Now, let us get into sharing a little bit of this screen. Give me a second here while you guys build in the chat. Okay, go ahead. Let me just, I mean, I have most of the information I'm going to talk about. I already have it, but there's one more thing I need to pull up before I share the screen, because I want to go to the foundation of all this, and then we are going to bring it into the present. All right, that's what we're going to do. Okay. Give me a second here. All right. All right. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. All right. I just want to be as thorough as possible. All right. All right. Good. I found what I was looking for. And my brothers and sisters, once again, all right, I just have to make my disclaimer. Okay. And and please, I have to make my disclaimer that I'm going to use the Bible at some point to reference certain things. It doesn't mean that I subscribe the Bible to be the book of the Most High and the ultimate truth. No, the book is a book that's written by men with certain truths in there. And once you understand it, okay, the book is not what you think it is. It's not about a sky daddy, coming to save people or trying to take you to hell or heaven. It has nothing to do with that. The Bible is a trust, okay, with instructions on how to operate in commerce for the most part. So just so you know that, all right. Once again, feel free to hit the super chat if you appreciate the information that's coming. So let us go back to the word law. All right. I'm gonna get ready to share my screen for you guys, and let us look at the definition. Alrighty. Okay. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And let's get into this. Let's get into this. All right. When I'm sharing my screen, let me just make sure. Go to YouTube. Okay, here we are. So just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page. I'm here with y'all. All right, beautiful. So let us look at the word law. Very, very, very important. Okay, because we are being tricked with all these English words and all these English terminologies. There is such a thing called, before there was law, L-A-W, there was law, L-O-R-E. And I've gone over this, which I've mentioned that in bills before. But today I'm doing a comprehensive breakdown, all right? So that once this build is over with, you would have no excuse whatsoever, all right, to be fooled. All right. You have no reason to be in ignorance anymore after this build. You did. So law, L-O-R-E, law, noun, a body of traditions and knowledge on a subject or held by a particular group, typically passed from person to person by word of mouth. So you see, we already had law, L-O-R-E. Okay, what is law? L-O-R-E, a body of traditions and knowledge. Traditions and knowledge on a subject or held by a particular group. A group could be considered as a family is a group, okay? A clan is a group. A band is a group. A nation is a group. A people could be considered a group. Typically passed from person to person by what? Word of mouth. All right. So the law doesn't necessarily have to be written down. Okay. So let us put this into the context of where we are at today. The LAW doesn't supersede the LORE because the people, okay, the people spoke the law, the LORE, and that was word. That was word. Okay. That was the word. So we had an oral tradition with laws. Granted that we didn't write it down in book. And what they did, when they came to our land, what they had to do, they had to send their Moses to the mountain, okay, the mountain high, because we were the children on high. Brothers and sisters, get what I'm saying, okay? We lived in the wilderness on high. So we are the most high. You feel me? Okay? Peep what I'm saying. So what did Moses have to do? Whether Moses was an allegory or not, I don't care. Okay? That's irrelevant right now. We are looking at the context of the story, whether it was fictitious or not. Well, fictional or not, right? Moses went on high. Okay? And Moses heard what? The spoken word, which is what? The law. So Moses heard the LORE, and what did he do? He came down and he put it on stones, which became the LAW, the written law. So therefore, the spoken law, all right, which is what? The Bosai wrote where? In the hearts and the minds of men. And when I say men, that encompasses women as well. Okay? So therefore, no written law has any type of authority over the spoken law. So once you know who you are and you're able to articulate who you are, then the only way for them to touch you is if they just say, blatantly, I don't care what you tell me, I'm going to violate your right. Well, if that's the way you're going to violate my right, then so be it. But I'm going to stand on the truth. And I'm not going to waver. Okay? So these people came into our land. We had a tradition of spoken law, LORE. And when the United States was founded on our land, 1776 officially, then they started instituting those laws, LAW. Okay? Just wanted to break that down. Now, what we're going to do at this time, we're going to start diving into the concept of the birth certificate. All right? But before we even do that, I want to share something with you guys. So let me see if I could get that. Let me go to my email real quick because I emailed that to myself. What am I looking at? Okay, that's a flyer of that thing that's coming. Here we go. I'm gonna share this with you guys. Come on. All right, here we go. Okay. Now let me just blow this up a little bit because people perish for the lack of knowledge. And there's nothing wrong in being ignorant, okay? Because we are all ignorant at some point. We are all ignorant of something. However, it takes some work to remain stupid, all right? And the position or the state of mind that our people are in today, we are suffering because of the lack thereof, the lack of the knowledge, the lack of the information. So I appreciate, man, everybody who's dropping knowledge, okay, to the best of their ability. And what I would suggest to you guys, my advice is this. This is just my advice. Every platform is not going to have all the truth. Even my platform, okay? Yes, I'm giving you the truth to the best of my ability, but some of the information, there may be more to it. It doesn't mean that I'm wrong. Some of the information may need to be upgraded or something need to be added. So my point is this. Every platform may have something you could grasp from. Okay, you know what? This person said this. Oh, that's true. Let me take that. But you know what? What they are saying, I don't agree with that. This person may have another piece of the puzzle. So once you have done that and you do your due diligence, you're able to take pieces from every different platform that you resonate with, okay, and put it together. All of a sudden, you are on a whole different frequency. All right. But my job and my duty, all right, and my obligation is to bring you as much authentic information as I can. If it's not authentic, I'm not going to bring it. I would rather not do a video. So I would rather bring and research and study the truth. All right. Not that other people don't, but I just wanted to point that out. Okay. Do your own research, please. All right. So here's a document. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but for conversation's sake, I think it's important that I touch on that a little bit, even before I get into the birth certificate. All right. Now, the United States congressional record. This is not my congressional record. Okay. The United States congressional record. Okay. March 17th, 1993, volume 33, page 8H-1303. The speaker at that time was Representative James Traficant Jr., Ohio, addressing what? The House. So this is not a document that I made up. This is an actual, conversation, all right, from the United States congressional records, all right? And it reads, quote, open quote, open quotations, Mr. Speaker, and that is James Traficant speaking, all right? Mr. Speaker, we are here now in chapter 11. Members of the Congress are official trustees presiding over the greatest reorganization of any bankrupt entity in world history, the United States government. I'm going to repeat that again. And look at the words reorganization. Okay? Anytime there is the prefix re in front of any word, it means that something already existed. All right? And I've used that example many times in videos. If I drove my car forward, okay, or I moved my car forward, and I said, well, hey, do me a favor, brother, do me a favor, sis. Could you reverse the car for me? What does that mean? What does that imply? It means that the car had already been driven forward. So an action had already taken place. My book, Everyone's a Slave Unless. If I say, hey, brother, hey, sister, do me a favor, rewrite my book. What does that mean? The prefix re denotes what? That something had already been done. Revise. So therefore, if we are going to reorganize a reorganization, that means organizations had already been in place. So I'm going to take that from the top. Mr. Speaker, we are here in chapter 11, members of Congress are official trustees presiding over the greatest reorganization of any bankrupt entity in the world history. In the world history, the United States government. It's an organization. But when you call it an organization, they want to say, oh, well, you're against the government. No, that's in your documents. I'm not against anything or anybody. I'm just teaching truth. But they have to put you in a category. They have to put you in a box so you become a target because you are teaching truth. You feel me? But that word trustees is very, very interesting because what's a trustee? For there to be a trustee, there has to be a trust. And for there to be a trust, there have to be a grantor of the trust. So if you have a trustee, you have a grantor, and therefore, if you have a grantor, a trustee, there have to be a what? There have to be a beneficiary. So let's put this in context. So if the United States is the trustee, then who's the grantor? Who is the boss? Who's the creator of that trust? Well, my brothers and sisters and everybody else that's listening, the grantor is who? England, the crown. So yes, you are still citizens of England. Now, I'm only the messenger. Okay? That's it. Here to tell you the truth. Okay? Bankrupt. We are setting forth, hopefully, a blueprint for our future. There are some who say it is a coroner's report that will lead to our demise. In other words, the path that the United States is on, the only conclusion is that a coroner report will lead to the demise of the United States. Now, should I be upset? No. Why should I be upset? Look at the egregious behavior of the people that created the United States towards we, the Aboriginals. So I say, allow nature to take its course. And I'm going to rock with nature any day. Okay? Let us get into the highlighted section of this document. I'm going to start from the top. It is an established fact. Okay? It is an established fact, not an opinion. And it's also established. It's an established fact that the United States federal government has been dissolved. Dissolved, meaning that it no longer exists. It's all an illusion. By the Emergency Banking Act, March 9th, 1933, 48 Statute 1, Public Law 89-719, declared by who? President Roosevelt. Being bankrupt and insolvent. Insolvent means they're not able to take care of their affairs. They are incompetent. They are children. Okay? So I'm not saying that. It is not a UCC code. No, that's statute law. That's public law. That Roosevelt declared on March 9th, 1933, that the United States is what? Bankrupt. So if the United States is bankrupt, how could a bankrupt organization be buying countries and ruling people? It's bankrupt. Now we have HJR 192, 73rd Congress session, June 5th, 1933, joint resolution to suspend the gold standard and abrogate the gold clause, dissolve the sovereign authority of the United States and the official capacities of all United States government officers, and departments, and is further evidence that the United States federal government exists today only what? In name only. All right? That's where the concept of a de facto entity exists, not de jure. Okay? De facto, it only exists in name, on paper. All right? The receivers of the United States bankruptcy are the international bankers. They are the receivers. Okay? In other words, they have a lien, so to speak. This may not be the most appropriate way to say it, but they control the United States, basically. All right? In layman's term. The receivers of the United States bankruptcy are the international bankers via the United Nations, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund. All United States offices, officials, and departments are now operating with what? A de facto status in name only under the emergency war powers, with constitutional Republican form of government now dissolved. All right? Now, some people may misconstrue a Republican form of government to get me confused with a Republican Party or the Democratic Party. No, it's two different things. The Republican Party and the Democratic Party, they are the same bird. It's just two different wings, a left wing and a right wing, but they're the same birds. However, a Republican form of government is where the people are in control and not the government. Okay, so that concept of governing has been dissolved. All right. The receivers of the bankruptcy have adopted a new form of government for the United States. This new form of government is known as a democracy, being an established socialist communist order under a new governor for America. This act was instituted and established by transferring and or placing the office of Secretary of Treasury to that of the governor of the International Monetary Fund, Public Law 94-564, page 8, section H.R. 13955. Reads in part, quote, open quotes, the United States Secretary of Treasury receives no compensation for representing the United States, close quotations. Okay? Gold and silver were such a powerful money during the founding of the United States. Remember, the gold and silver was already here. You see, they're teaching people the narrative that only Africa had gold. No, we had endless gold and silver right here in the American continent. And guess who had the rights to this gold? Because it was ours. We just didn't place a materialistic value on it, but we had it. We walked on gold. Okay, we walked on gold. Gold and silver was such a powerful money during the founding of the United States of America that the founding fathers declared that only gold or silver coins can be money in America. Okay? And that still stands today. Only gold and silver can be money. So my question to you, those paper things you have in your pocket calling money, what's that? You see how the enslavement happened. They have you chasing a piece of paper that's not even money. Now, some people may say, well, Chief, well, if it's not real money, why do you want us to support the super chat? Why not? Because it could be used for the exchange of goods and services. That's what it is now. It's just a means of bartering. All right? That's all it is. And if you look on it, it clearly states that it's for the use of legal. All right? It's a legal tender for private and public. That's all it is. It's just a legal tender. A means of exchange. I give you something, you give me something. That's all it means. All right? But what is it backed by? Nothing. All right? Where we at? Since gold and silver coinage were heavy and inconvenient for a lot of transactions, they were stored in banks, and a claim check was issued as a money substitute. People traded their coupons as money or currency. Currency is not money. Okay, currency is not money, but a money substitute. Redeemable currency must promise to pay a dollar equivalent in gold or silver money. Federal Reserve notes, FRN, make no such promises and are not money. A Federal Reserve note is a debt obligation of the federal government, of the federal United States government, not money. The federal United States government and the US Congress are not and have never been authorized by the Constitution for, it didn't say of, but for the United States of America to issue currency of any kind, but only lawful money, gold and silver coin. Okay? So I'm going to leave that there. So only gold and silver was considered and still is considered to be real money. So it begs the question, what you call money today, what is it? It is a debt instrument. That's all it is, a promise to pay, but you are never paying. That's why the national debt will continue to rise, because they are using FRNs, okay, Federal Reserve notes. It is a currency. It is not money. You feel me? It is a promise to pay. That's all that it is. Okay? Let's go to another document. Okay, let's go to another document. Now we're going to look at HJR 192, and I'm going to touch on that briefly, what that is. Okay. Now that, so we read just a little while ago that the United States has been bankrupt since 1933, right? So gold and silver is actually and was meant to be the only form of money. So since the government took the gold and silver from the people realized the game that was being played. So they didn't want another civil war with the people. So they said, what? Listen, you caught us, okay? We messed up. And I've mentioned that before. So it may seem a little bit like deja vu because I've gone through this before, but now I'm really going in, okay? So what they did was the people said, something got to be done. So they gave the people HJR Res 192, which in essence states that the people have a right to discharge their debt dollar for dollar in the equivalent of gold and silver, because they took the gold and silver. So the people's like, listen, if you take the real money, then how are we going to pay our debts? But where the trickery happened was that they taught the Caucasians and the mulattoes, they taught them this game. They taught them about the real bankruptcy. They taught them about HJR 192, that they could discharge their debts. But they didn't teach it to the field slaves, which they coined the Negroes and the African Americans and the black people. Okay? Because they still have to maintain that form of whether you call it slavery or servitude, whichever term that you use. All right? It is our energy that is still being used to build this organization called the United States. And am I at fault for calling it an organization? No, it says that right in their own records. So because of HJR 192, all right, every so-called citizen or the people of the United States have a right by law to discharge their debts because there is no money. In other words, the debt has already been paid because we took all your gold and silver, so your debt already has been paid. That was the deal with the people. Okay? I just wanted to point that out. Let me just come back to the chat real quick. And before I proceed, let me just make sure we are all on the same page and the people are actually getting this. All right? And the people are actually getting this. Give me a second here. All right. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, good. Got it. All right. So how are we doing? Everybody's good? Everybody's good? Just make sure everybody's good. Okay. Once again, show the super chat some love. Show the super chat some love. All right, let's dive in. Okay, we're going a little deeper. We're going a little deeper now. So I just wanted to point that out because you see, you have to have the foundation of exactly how all this transpired. All right, before all this took place, our people was actually farmers. But what they did was, you see the wordplay. English is a folk tongue language, very confusing to conform people. That's what it really means. That's what it meant. That was the intended purpose of bringing English, you know what I'm saying, into our homeland. So yes, we were farmers, but what they did was they took the concept of farming, all right, and changed the name to plantation, a plantation. So when you hear or you read in certain of our story or their history that, well, they were working on plantations, all of a sudden you think enslaved. But no, we were the people of the land. We were already growing our food. We were already tilling the land. So they just changed the narrative from farmers to plantation. So yes, we were born free. We have always been free. We have always been sovereign on our land. Not to be construed with sovereign citizens. I'm not a sovereign citizen. I've never claimed to be that, but I'm a sovereign. Okay? So at the ending of the day, It is the wordplay. All right? The semantics of the word that they play. These actors that they have put in place to confuse the people. That's what's going on. So I just want to make sure that you get this, the foundation. All right? How it all happened. Why is all this happening? Why does it seem that I have a job, but I'm still in debt? Brothers and sisters, you are still in debt because you are chasing Federal Reserve notes that has no value. Okay? It is a debt instrument. So when you see these celebrities talking about they have millions and posting 50 cents and Mayweather, all these videos with all this fiat currency in the trunk of their cars, they are fools. Okay? Or let me just rephrase that. All right? They are playing the game that the slave master want them to play. Give the people the illusion that that's what you need. That's why I have no respect for these people, period. Okay? Because they are pushing the narrative of that's money. No, it's not money. It's not. Do you really think that Jay-Z is a billionaire, that Jay-Z have $1 billion in federal notes? Anybody who think that is a fool. No, he has $1 billion in credit. Okay, in credit, because he's a creditor. He don't have $1 billion. The bank don't even have $1 billion. The bank only recycle the money that you put in there. You give the bank life. You give the bank life. The bank needs you more than you need the bank. Why do you think our ancestors used to put their money, because they got hit through the game, in their mattresses, in the back of the house, in boxes? Why? Because they knew the game. They understood the game. They comprehended the game. You feel me? Thank you, nonetheless. Thank you for supporting the super chat. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you. All right. So y'all have to know exactly what that means. The fiat currency is just an instrument that we should use, okay, to facilitate our indigenous capacity. Because we could use it to do things. Don't get me wrong. But the true value is in your energy. That's where the true value is. The value is not in the money. Because without your energy, there could never be money. Well, the fiat currency, that is. Okay? So keep that in mind. All right? Now that we have touched that subject, let us go into the breakdown of the birth certificate. All right? I'm going to share my screen. And what did I do here? Oops. Okay, it's cool. It's cool. When I'm done, I'll close that out. And I just want to give a shout out to my brother Creek. Eloquently. I'll give him a shout out. All right. Let me share the screen again. Okay, I'm gonna share the screen. Come on, share screen. Stop playing with me now. Okay, here we go. Share screen. All right. So here we are, brothers and sisters, people of the world. Okay. Hope you guys could see my screen. All right. Now, this is for those of you who have never heard of this. This is give me a second here. Wow. Hold up. Okay. This is Minnesota court rules. Okay. Minnesota court rules. Now we're gonna break down. Okay. I want to put that in a different. Give me a second. Let me just copy this, and I'm gonna put this in one of these windows over here. So let me just bring this down. All right, just bear with me here for a second, guys. I had this already situated, but for some reason something happened. I don't know what it is, but let me just put that in the link here. I'm just gonna open that again. Oh, come on. All right, here we go. Break that down. All right. And once again, thanks nonetheless for the gift of $20 for the super chat. I really appreciate it. All right, thank you. All right, so here we go. All right, so let me see. I'm gonna close this, and then here we are. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. I hope everybody could see this and everybody could read this. All right, I'm just gonna make it a little bigger so that it could be a little more visible. Okay, this is Minnesota court rules. All right. Personally, I just think that every state should literally have that on their website. The general rules of practice. Okay, they want to keep people in the dark, so they kind of give a rendition of this. But so far, based on what I've been told and in research, that Minnesota, in Minnesota, they are giving more of a breakdown in terms of the general rules of practice, okay, when it comes to the birth certificate. So we're gonna break that down and let's get it in. All right. So Rule 220, birth certificates. The registrar. I'm gonna read it first. In fact, I'm gonna read it twice because, like I tell people, let us not read to finish, but let us read to comprehend. Let us read to start. All right. Let us read to start, and that's how you study. You feel me? The registrar of titles is authorized to receive for registration of memorials upon any outstanding certificate of title and official birth certificate pertaining to a registered owner named in said certificate of the title showing the date of birth of said registered owner. Okay, providing there is attached to said birth certificate an affidavit of an affiant. An affiant is one who writes an affidavit, who states that he/she is familiar with the facts recited, stating that the party named in said birth certificate is the same party as one of the owners named in said certificate of title, and that thereafter the registrar of titles shall treat said registered owner as having attained the age of the majority at a date 18 years after the date of birth shown by said certificate. Now, I'm going to read that again because it has to sink in for you to truly comprehend what I'm about to break down to you and for you. Okay? Rule 220, birth certificate. The registrar of titles is authorized to receive for registration of memorials upon any outstanding certificate of title and official birth certificate pertaining to a registered owner named in said certificate of title showing the date of birth of said registered owner, providing there is attached to said birth certificate an affidavit of an affiant who states that he/she is familiar with the facts recited, stating that the party named in said birth certificate is the same party as one of the owners named in said certificate of title, and that thereafter the registrar of the titles shall treat said registered owner as having attained the age of majority at date 18 after the date of birth shown by said certificate. Now, let me break this down. Okay, let's break this down so you will have some understanding as to what all this means. All right, let us take it line by line and break down some of the words word for word. Okay, the registrar of titles is authorized to receive for registration of memorial upon any outstanding certificate of title and official birth certificate pertaining to a registered owner named in said certificate of title showing the date of birth of said registered owner. There are some key words that we have to pay attention to. Registrar, right? A registrar is what? One who registers, who register things, right? Or events or whatever. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the term register. what register means. Okay, register. Let us look at the word register. What does it mean? All right. So in order for a registrar to exist, then something has to be registered, right? So let us go look at the definition of register. Okay, register. And I'm at the free dictionary, and that's online. Okay, free dictionary. All right, register. Let's make this big enough so we all could read this. Register. All right, to record or enter precisely in a designated place certain information in public records as is mandated by statute, a book of public records. So essentially, to register, a register is a book of public records. All right. A register contains various types of information that is available to the public, such as what? Births, dates, and marriages. The term register is also used as a designation for the public official charged with the duty of maintaining such records. Okay, records. That's very key. Now we have to go look what a record is. Know that we know register basically is a book of records. Register is a book of records. All right? To record or enter precisely in a designated place. So the building is the place, all right? Or whatever place that is being put in certain information in public records, and that information, they give examples: births, dates, marriages. Okay? Now we have to go look at record, because register is a book of public records. We know what public is, but what is a record? Let us go look at record, the definition of record. The definition of record. Definition of record. Oh, I misspelled it, but anyway, here we go. All right. Definition of record. Because you have to get to the bottom of these words, okay? Definition of record. Let's see what it says here. A thing constituting of a piece of evidence, past the account. Okay, that's not what we're looking for. The sum of the past evidence, that's not what we're looking for. All right. Set down in writing. Okay, set down in writing some of other pertinent form of a letter, a convert. All right, let's look at other. Something records relates to events. All right, something that records, such as something that records relates past events, an official document that records the act of. Okay, let us look again to sit down in writing or like. Let us see what are records, what other people are actually saying. Okay. Assigning value of a record as simple as providing. Okay, that's something DNA. That's not what we're looking for. We have to look for exactly what we're looking for, right? What is a record? To store sounds or moving pictures. All right. Definition defined as explain language. Record synonyms: to record pronunciation, record translation, to record. All right. No information. So you keep a record of something. You keep a record, a written account. All right. It's a written account. Okay. So this is, more of a little closer to what we're looking for, right? Because we don't always have to look for the first definition. All right. So here we go. Record. That's just one of the definitions here, but we're going to put this in perspective, right? If you keep a record of something, you keep a written account or photographs of it so that it can be referred to later. All right. So a record could be a written account of something. Okay. A record, a written account, or keeping a written account of something, of an account, or photographs, right? Information, events, putting it on file. That's what it means to record something. So let us go back to where we have Minnesota Rule 228. So therefore, the registrar is responsible for what? Registering things. What's a record? A book of public records. So it's a book of information that's put on file. All right. So register is a book of records, and basically what the registrar does is take the record, okay, and put it on file. We just have to get that clear. Now it says the registrar of titles is authorized to receive for registration of a memorials upon any outstanding certificate of title, an official birth certificate pertaining to a registered owner named said certificate of title showing the date of birth of said registered owner. Now, let us go look at name, right? Because we have what on our birth certificate? We have names, correct? So let us go look at the definition, the legal definition, or let's just go look at the definition of name. All right, name. And all this is gonna make sense. It's gonna make sense. All right, name. A word or set of words by which a person, animal, place, or thing is known, addressed, or referred to. But here's the interesting thing in this. Let us go look at the synonyms. What word or the word did we see in Minnesota 220, the rule of practice? What? Title. A title. So therefore, a name is synonymous with title. A name is the same thing as a title, brothers and sisters and people of the world. A name is the same thing as a title. Let us go back to this general rule. The register of titles, which is the register of names, because you have a name on your birth certificate. So if your name is the same thing as a title, and when you register it, what's to register? A book of records. So now you are putting on the record that name, that title, right? And they said what? Upon any outstanding certificate. Let us go look at the definition of certificate, right? That will all make sense to you guys. Certificate, an official or sworn document that formally attests to something to be what? To be true. Also called certification. A formal document certifying some interest, permission, right, or status granted to its bearer. All right. Now let us put all this in perspective. Now you have a title, which is the same thing as a name. You have a registrar who register things. And what's a register? To register what? A book of public records, a book of records, right? And then you have what? A certificate. A certificate is an official or sworn document that formally attests something to be what? True. So it's a record of something, that something exists to be true. Also called a certification, a formal document certifying interest, permission, right, or status granted to what? Its bearer. Let us go look at the definition of bearer, right? Bearer, what? A person or thing that carries or holds something. So therefore, the birth certificate doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the bearer. Okay? The bearer, or the synonyms for bearer, is what? An agent, a conveyor, a carrier, a provider. So therefore, when you were born, your mother, okay, your mother, well, first, even before I get into that, let us continue. So we have broken down certain words. Title, okay, title, another name for title is name, or a synonym for title is name. All right. We now know that register is a book of records. We know that a record is what? A record is literally something that's written or documented that's put on file, right? So therefore, we could go and get it as evidence because now a record exists. So now that we have broken that down, now we have shown what title is synonymous with his name. Certificate, we just broke that down. And let us go to the second paragraph. Providing there is attached to said birth certificate an affidavit of an affiant who states he or she is familiar with the facts recited, with the facts, stating that the party named in said birth certificate is the same party as one of the owners. Okay? You are one of the owners because it's your name, your title that's in that birth certificate. Now, let me ask you a question. How many names are actually on your birth certificate? Can anybody answer this question in the chat for me? How many owners that's on your birth certificate? Anybody? Can anybody answer this question for me? How many owners? Because it does say the same party as one of the owners named in said certificate of what? Of title. The birth certificate is a certificate of title, a certificate of name. So therefore, can you please tell me how many owners? Therefore, yes, that's right, T God. It's 3. You have 3 owners on the birth certificate because those are the 3 names that's on the birth certificate. Who are these 3 owners? Who are the 3 owners? The 3 owners are the mother, the father, and the child. The Trinity, the trust. Like I told y'all before, the father is the grantor because he grants the mother the seed. The mother is the trustee because she's entrusted with the seed. And then the baby is what? The baby is the beneficiary. So therefore, your mother, your father, and you, because you are one of the names, you are one of the titles, because the title is synonymous with name. Okay? You are one of the owners of said certificate of title. And it says, thereafter the registrar of titles shall treat said registered owner as having attained the age of the majority of 18 after the date of birth shown by said certificate. So therefore, by right, okay, when you have attained the age of 18, you are supposed to, by law, okay, the general rules of practice, Minnesota Rule 220, when you have attained the age of 18, you are supposed to get an affidavit, all right, and bring that to the registrar, all right, on record to state that you are familiar with the facts that's recited, okay, in this certificate of title to be true, all right? What does that mean? It means that you are declaring yourself as one of the owners and not the name or the title that's on this certificate of title. Now, let us bring this into full circle. If a title is synonymous to a name, right? If a title is synonymous to a name, then when you have a car, what do you get? When you have a car, you get a title. And then what do you do with the title? You go to motor vehicles and you do what? You register the title of the car. It is the same concept. But however, when you register the title of the car, what happens? You give up ownership of that car. Okay? Now there are other parties involved who have a say in your car. That's why when you so-called drive on the road, all right, you have what? You could get tickets because now they are actually a party to that certificate of title. So now they have part ownership. So therefore, when our mothers, okay, got into this contract, so to speak, all right, you were born a natural baby boy or a natural baby girl. So the government stepped in and said, you know what, man, I love this concept of this Trinity. I love this family. I want to be a part of that. So here's a certificate. Once again, let us go back to the definition of what? Certificate, right? Let us not forget the definitions. Family, let's not forget the definitions. Okay? Certificate, an official or sworn document that is formally attests to what? Something is true. So therefore, they came and said, here's a certificate. All right? We're going to have a covenant, a contract between us. Let's set up a trust that I am now part of this family. And here's a certificate of you attesting it to be true. But even before it was even put on paper, it was a verbal, because you see, a contract could be expressed or implied. So it was expressed and implied verbally. And then the certificate, the tangible certificate, was presented. Okay? But even when it was presented, what? The mother had to do what first? She had to sign her nature away, signature. So she had to sign her nature, okay, to seal the deal. It was granted to her by what? The bearer. And when we look at the definition of bearer, the bearer is what? The agent, the messenger, the conveyor, the provider, the carrier. I hope that makes sense. Okay? So therefore, mommy or mother gave up the rights to the title or the name of you. So therefore, they are saying that when you have gotten to the age of 18, you have the right to what? Declare or do an affidavit stating that you are not that title. However, you are one of the owners of the title, of the name, because it's an entity. I hope that makes sense. All right. I hope that makes sense. Let me just come back to the feed real quick. Stop sharing for a second. All right. Because I want to make sure that you guys really get, what we're building on today. Okay. I hope you get what you're building on today. So therefore, all right, that's why reading is fun for the mental. Okay. That's why when you walk around talking about that's my name, it is not your name. Okay. You are the owner, but you just don't know because you haven't declared it. Okay. So we are here walking around. Oh, that's my name. That's me. So that's why when you go to court, they could abuse you and send you to jail because you are saying that's you. It is not you. It is not you. All right. It is not you. So with that being said, that goes for everybody, not just Aborigines. Caucasians are in the same boat. Asians are in the same boat. Arabs are in the same boats. African are in the same boat. But the only problem is this, okay? They are playing the role of the house slave while the American Aborigines are playing the field slaves because they don't want us to know. Okay? Now, if you feel me, hit the super chat and show some love because we going in. We got some more work to do. All right? Reciprocate the love. So let us proceed. Okay? Let us proceed. Let us go back to sharing again. Share. Okay? And I've broken this down to you guys before, but I'm gonna go over it again because concept of what we are talking about. And all this is public information. So I have to make my disclaimer again. I am not anti-government. Okay? I am not anti-police. I'm not none of that. I'm just teaching what's hidden from my people. Period. That's what it is. Okay? Because I subscribe to a government to government relationship. And that's how they are supposed to deal with us. So I am for government. I'm just not for a government that's abusing my people. I'm just not for a government that's killing my people. I'm just not for a government that's poisoning our foods. I'm not just for a government that's here lying to my people. I'm not for that type of government. All right? I just want to make sure that this disclaimer is out there. All right? Because once you start teaching the truth, they always want to put you in a category. All right? So let's just make that clear. All right? Now, so as you could see, on every certificate of title, which is also named the birth certificate, that title, because if they had put on your birth certificate, they put your name, instead of putting name, they put title, and then you had to register it, and they're like, hold up. What hold up? You mean title? So I have a title, and then it has to be registered. Isn't that the same thing I got to do with my car? Isn't that the same thing I got to do with hold up, nah, something ain't right. So they know you're gonna put two and two together. So they use a synonym, and instead of using title, they put name. So you're running around talking about your name, or you're the name of the title. No, you're not. You feel me? It's like you saying, "Oh, I am the car." It's like you saying, "I am the title of the car." How can you be the title of the car? So how can you be the title on the certificate of live birth or birth certificate? Brothers and sisters, wake up. Open up your minds. That is not you. You are supposed to be one of the owners of that title or name. Okay? And I've gone through this capitalization before. So I'm not going to dive in it. I'm going to just go ahead and break down just the main one for you, okay? Because I've shared this for you before, so I'm not going to be too redundant. Also, repetition also helps, but I'm not going to read the entire thing because that's all in recent videos, right? So the capitalization of the name on the birth certificate, what? It denotes capitis diminutio maxima. What does that mean? Capitis diminutio maxima is right here. It means that you have lost status through the use of capitalization. Example, John Doe, your name in all caps. All right, the highest or the most comprehensive loss of status. This occurred when a man's condition was changed from one of freedom to one of bondage when he became a slave. All right, so when you go into court, and that's why they have to get you to agree that that's your name. Okay, so they call you. When we call your name, make sure you answer. That is not my damn name. I am the owner of that name. So you have to separate yourself from the entity. And that's why millions of our children are in jail right now, because our people perish for the lack of knowledge. Okay, that's why they get to abuse you, because you have no comprehension of the matrix. You have no understanding or how profound, okay, the deceiving of the people are when you step into that commercial world. It's deep. The rabbit hole is deep. You feel me? But don't you think your celebrities know this? They do. That's why each of your celebrities, they have what's called a what? A DBA. What's a DBA? Let us get into this. All right? But even we get into a DBA, right? So now that we know what title is, okay, we know what that it's synonymous with name. We know what a record is. We know what register is, right? So when you put two and two together, now all that stuff was still, yes, the mother signed the birth certificate or the certificate of title, yes, but it still wasn't official. So what they had to do, the bearer or the conveyor had to do what? They had to put a seal on it. Now, what's a seal? Let us go look at definition of seal. Definition of seal. Seal. Definition of seal. A device or substance that is used to what? Join two things together so as to prevent them from coming apart or prevent anything from passing through them. So therefore, mommy and daddy had a baby girl, boy, natural child. Okay, the entity came and said, hey, the agent came and said, what? We want to be part of this deal right here. So I know you gave your child a name, but I'm going to trick you into into a contract that you think is for your benefit because you want privileges, right? You want privileges? Okay, cool. So do me a favor. Here's a birth certificate, right? I'm going to take that. We're going to register it for you, all right? But even if you sign it, we still got to seal it. So now they put the seal on it. What is the seal? The device, okay, that is used to join. So now that they are in bed with you together, they are part of the family now. To prevent what? Together to prevent them from coming apart. So that's why they could come take your children, because it is sealed. Mommy didn't just sign the birth certificate, okay? She didn't just sig her nature away. She had them put the seal on it. So now we are joined together. What did they say? Same thing with the marriage certificate, right? It's the same thing. You think when you're married, you are marrying under God, the Bible God? No, you are deceived. That's why ain't no woman gonna trap me into getting married in their system. No, it's a trap. You feel me? Whether she could catch all the emotions in the world she want. Because first of all, I wouldn't want to be with a woman who doesn't get this anyway, because that means we are unequally yoked. And that's the problem with our people right now. Okay? They're living, the majority of them are living in the flesh. So they see a big booty. Men see a big booty. Women see money. That's what they see. There's no substance in relationships anymore. Because that's what Hollywood is promoting. And that's what we allow to teach our children. You feel me? So now, I ain't playing that. Okay? So now that it's sealed, they are officially a part of the family. And because of the contracts, okay, those little words that you don't read and know the definition of, it means that they have more authority over you than your damn husband or your wife, over your children. Okay? So y'all better recognize. All right. Thank you, Aaliyah, for the super chat. Thank you for supporting the super chat. It means a lot. All right. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Okay. So now that we have broken this down, all right, let us continue. All right. Let me see, what else did I have to share with you guys? I did that. Okay. So with that being said, know what situation that you are in. Okay. Oh, I'm glad I said that. DBA. All right. This is why celebrities, judges, politicians, they have what's called DBAs. All right. But if you do it, they don't want you to do it, but they have it, right? DBA. What's a DBA? So, which brings me back to my point. Celebrities and the people who so-called represent us, they know the truth. But they will not tell. Do you think Snoop Dogg real name is Snoop Dogg? Do you think T.I. real name is T.I.? Do you think 50 Cent's real name is 50 Cents? Do you think the Game name is The Game? No. They are all using DBAs. What is a DBA? Doing business as. The operating of a company as opposed to the legal name of a company. Some states require a DBA or a what? A fictitious business name filing to be made for the protection of consumers conducting business with what? The entity. All right? You are supposed to have a DBA so that you could be protected when you are doing business commerce with the entity. But because you don't have a DBA, you get to be abused. You have no protection. Okay? It's like having sex with a prostitute who have AIDS. And I'm not going to apologize for being so blunt. It's like jumping into water with sharks without your gear. Okay? So when you step into these courts, you don't have a DBA, meaning that you don't have a business, okay, that clearly states that that's not you, it's a business. Then you go talking, oh, that's me. They are going to put you in jail or you are going to pay a fine. Okay? Just so y'all know what's going on. You feel me? So I'm just going to let that sink in for a minute. I'm going to, drink a little bit of water. All right? I'm going to, let me see. I know I have to share something else. Where we at? Yeah, right here. Okay. All right. History of slavery in Maryland. Now, that's not necessarily connected to, the birth certificate concept, but that's still just added information, which I think is, pertinent for the build, right? So here we are. History of slavery in Maryland. Maryland's history as a slaveholding state was unique. Few land holdings in the state would have rated the name of plantation in the eyes of slaveholders from the southern states because the average number of enslaved persons owned by each slaveholder in Maryland was only 3. Okay? Founding of Maryland. Maryland developed from a tract of country because before it was called reservations, they were called tract, right? Maryland developed from a tract of country belonging to the original grant of Virginia. Judge Calvert, the first Lord Baltimore, was looking for land with a similar climate to that of England, on which to establish his new what? His new colony. Okay, brothers and sisters? So we're still living under the guise of the subjects of Britain. So for all those of you who are actually in denial, all right, I have told y'all before, the Nile is a river that runs from America into Africa. So if you're in the Nile and you can't swim, I suggest you get out of the Nile. I'm going to repeat that again. The Nile, or the Nile, okay, is a river that runs from the Mississippi into Africa. So if you can't swim, I suggest you get out of the Nile, because many of you are actually in the Nile. You feel me? All right? Let's read. Reading is fun for the mental. Okay? He put his sights on obtaining land in Virginia, parts of which had already been colonized. With few exceptions, Europeans came to the New World. Mind you, of course, we know it was not the New World. It was a new world to them. Okay? In search of some form of what? Economic opportunity. Now, let me ask you a question, right? If Africa, and once again, when I speak of history and I compare things to Africa, I have to make my disclaimer. I have nothing against Africans, all right? But this is for teaching purposes. Mind games, I want to thank you for you know, the $22.22. I like that. That's a very high frequency number. So that means a lot to me. I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the super chat, especially with that gift. I love that frequency. That gift was given with a high frequency. All right. Not that the others weren't, but 2222. That's what's up. All right. And thanks to everybody else who is supporting the super chat. All right. I will definitely give you guys a shout out, you know, once I'm done with the presentation. All right. Now, with few exceptions, Europeans came to the New World, and in all their documents, they're letting you know they came to our land. So it confirms everything that I said from the very beginning of this presentation, right? With some form of economic opportunity. Now, why would you leave where you are at, okay? If you are supposed to be the royalty of England, why would you leave England, where you are royal, to come into the new world, which is America's, for opportunity? Now, which begs another question. If Africa had all the resources, why didn't you go to Africa? Don't let them fool you, brothers and sisters. Don't let them fool you. We had the most resources on the planet. The most resources. And we still have the most resources on the planet. It's our people. You feel me? Now, if they were poor and landless in Europe, they saw the chance to obtain land for themselves and their families. They believed the New World offered a chance to become more economically secure. In the colony of Maryland, many of the settlers began to establish themselves as tobacco planters. Maryland planters had good examples of other agricultural colonies in the New World to borrow from. So that means the concept of tobacco wasn't new. They just learned it, right? The Spanish and the French were growing sugarcane in the Caribbean. And even in Virginia, by the time Maryland was organized, Africans were being used as workers. Okay? Tobacco. Tobacco was the main export of the colony. Corn was second, and it provided the main means of wealth and prosperity. Tobacco was the only crop having a fully developed market that extended to the Chesapeake region, and including English and Dutch merchants who had already been trading with the colonists in Virginia. As the Maryland colony grew, farmers discovered that it took a lot of land and people to grow tobacco. The colonists had plenty of land, but not enough workers. Farmers had tried to use several different kinds of labor. They signed contracts with indentured servants from England and enslaved Native Americans and Africans. But for many reasons, the colonists ended up relying on African slaves. Now, that narrative is very, very important, right? How is that those coming from England were indentured servants, but not slaves? You see how they play with the words? No, they were damn slaves. Okay? They were slaves. You see, the English language was created to romance you, romanticize you. You feel me? To their benefit, right? They signed contracts with indentured servants. Now, well, I'm going to read it my way. They signed contracts with slaves from England. And what? Enslaves Native Americans? Well, yes, that means we were enslaved in our own land. And it says what? And Africans. So again, clearly pointing a distinction between us and the Africans. But for many reasons, the colonists ended up relying on African slaves. Why couldn't it be African indentured servants? You see, every time they start speaking of the dark people, they always want to call us slaves. But when it's them, it's indentured servants. No, y'all were slaves. So stop playing the games. All right? Stop playing the games. Stop playing the games. All right? Landowners felt justified in using Africans as slaves in Maryland because Africans were different. Africans were what? Africans were different. Okay? They have different skin color, all right, because they were considered black. We were considered copper toned, right? Spoke different languages and worshiped a different what? A different God. So for all you American Aborigines claiming African gods is yours, well, guess what? They are not our gods. You see? And that's one of the main downfalls of our people. We are worshiping gods that don't belong to us. You feel me? And I'm talking about the concept of gods, okay? The energy that they carry. So why, again, in a spiritual essence, why do you think so many different ethnic groups are prospering? They are thriving, except us. Because you know why? You're worshiping the wrong energy. You're worshiping the gods of Africans, and you're worshiping the gods of these European slaves and of different ethnic groups. Okay? Like I said, facts. And if you want to continue to be in denial and you can't swim, you're gonna drown. Believe that. Okay? African slaves performed a great number of jobs for the colonists in Maryland, but the important job was to what? Work on tobacco farms. African import and, give me a second here, guys. Dismiss that. Okay. Come here. Go to that. Go back here. Okay. All right. It is believed that approximately 20 Africans arrived in Port Comfort late August 1619 on a Dutch ship, right? And that by 1650s, the number had grown to between 300 and 400. So all the millions and millions and millions of slaves they're talking about Africans who came here, that's a lie. All right. They probably arrived in small groups, particularly during the intense Dutch trade activity in the 1640s and the 1650s. The origins of slaves were diverse. They came from Africa by way of England. All right. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Though a lot of them that came from England were literally, the majority of them, some of them were not from Africa. They were the Britons, okay? The dark-skinned people that was already in England, who are actually the aboriginals of England that are called blackamoors, all right? And they were all seeking greater economic opportunities, all right? So some of them came from, so they didn't come from England, they didn't come from Africa. They know that they're indigenous to England. Brothers and sisters, I'm putting this in context, in perspective. All right? From the British Caribbean, all right, there were also dark-skinned people there. And a substantial number of Spanish and Portuguese colonies. Although there were places along the Chesapeake Bay where English colonists and African Americans lived continually side by side as near equals, it is certain that most Africans were slaves. All right. But of course, they're going to call the Caucasians indentured servants, right? Now, they were slaves too. Stop with the semantics of words. It is speculated that all blacks probably arrived as slaves, but that were freed. Now, hear this, hear this. Very interesting bill. You see, we have to pay attention to the narrative. Okay? Pay attention to the narrative. It is speculated, again, speculated. When you make a speculation, all right, that could be also based on opinion or different sources, and you make a speculation. A speculation doesn't necessarily mean that it's a fact. All right? So we are going to stay here on narrative, right? It is speculated that all blacks probably, probably. What does it mean? A possibility. There's a slim chance that it may or may not be true. Okay, arrived as slaves, but some were freed. Now, some were freed, but now that's a contradiction, right? If all of them came as slaves, but then yet still they were still free, like, no, what are you talking about? What they don't want to tell us is that the original people that was here was dark skinned, so-called black. And that's why it was easy for the Africans to blend in with us, to seek freedom, because we had the same complexion to a certain extent. All right? And all enjoyed rights that slaves in other states did not. Africans were able to become assimilated into the colony by learning English, becoming Christians, and mastering the work routines of Europeans. Okay? Life for slave changed drastically in the 1660s as a result of legislation in Maryland and Virginia, as white European slaves, I'm not going to say servants, okay, as white European slaves became scarce and expensive. They're not going to tell you why they were becoming scarce. It's because they were dying out. They couldn't stand the hard work, and they couldn't stand the heat. Okay, let us speak the truth. It's not that they were becoming expensive, they were dying. Okay, they were dying. So as European slaves became scarce and expensive, and as Africans became dominating the labor force, a caste system developed, sealing the fate of slaves and removing opportunities for the freedom and advancement. Okay? Slaves who arrived in Maryland in 1670s would be slaves for what? For life. Okay? Meaning that into perpetuity. So when you call yourself an African American, guess what? You are already a slave for life. If y'all never heard me before, y'all gonna hear me today. Okay? Slaves who arrived in Maryland in the 1670s would be slaves for life. They would face a harsh environment in which they were subject to what? Volatile diseases, a shortage of women resulting in low reproduction, abusive masters, isolation from other Africans, and restriction of mobility. Okay? A slave auction illustrated by Edmund Ollier, an enslaved mother and her daughter. They're talking about that picture on the left, on the auction block. Another enslaved mother with infant waiting to be sold, white onlookers and white auctioning. Slave laws. Maryland wrote new laws that treated African slaves differently from everyone else in the colony. These laws slowly took away the rights and ruled that all Africans arriving in the colony were presumed to be slaves. What? Presumed to be slaves. So now, indigenous people could have came from the Caribbean, South America, and brought here, but because they had the same complexion, they all call them Africans, and they call them all slaves. All right? Maryland passed a law under which free European American women would lose their freedom if they married a black slave. This particular act remained in effect for over 300 years. Children of European American women and enslaved men automatically became slaves. In 1664, Maryland passed a law making lifelong servitude for what? For black slaves mandatory to prevent them from taking advantage of legal precedents established in England that granted freedom under certain conditions, such as conversion to what? Christianity. Okay? So we were not Christians, okay, on this landmass. Even the Africans were not Christians. But today, y'all calling yourself Christians, a total and a blatant disrespect to our ancestors. But once again, y'all are in denial. That's why you are drowning, because you cannot swim. Similar laws were passed in New York, New Jersey, the Carolinas, and Virginia. Throughout most of the colonial period, opposition to slavery among white Americans was virtually non-existent. Settlers in the 17th century came from sharply divided societies in which the wealthy exploited members of the lower classes. They saw little reason to question the enslavement of Africans. As they sought to mold a docile labor force, planters resorted to harsh, repressive measures that included liberal use of whipping and branding. Okay? So here you go. All right? Man, listen, man, you know, truth is truth. All right? Let us go to another document. All right? Let us go to another document. We going in today, like we always do. All right? Like we always do. Here's another document, Maryland Slave Law. I mean, this is kind of like almost the same reading, but you know, from a different source, a different perspective. All right. Well, not a perspective, the same perspective, but a different source. All right. Maryland Slave Law, 1664. This 17th century Maryland law is an excellent example of how the practice of slavery became codified as positive law in the American colonies. You see, and that's what we are operating under up to this present day, the codes. And I keep telling y'all, codes are not natural laws. They are not natural laws. You feel me? In this way, the legal status of African American slaves as property became settled. So if you want to be an African American, by all means, be my guest. But ain't nobody calling me no African American or black. I'll tell you that. Okay. Now, B, it says an act concerning Negroes and other slaves. Be enacted by the right honorable, the Lord Proprietary, but I'm going to change that to be enacted by the right honorable, the devil proprietary, because he ain't my Lord, by the advice and consent of the upper and lower house of this present general assembly, that all Negroes or other slaves already within the province, and all Negroes and other slaves to be hereinafter imported into the province shall serve durante vita. What that means? Hard labor for life. So brothers and sisters, when you call yourself a Negro, an African American, or black, what does it mean? Okay, to serve durante vita. What does that mean? Hard labor for life. Okay, so if y'all want to be black and African American, just know what you are calling yourself within these codified statutes. You feel me? Y'all gonna learn today. Well, that is if you so choose to learn. You feel me? Okay? And all children born of any Negro or other slave shall be slaves as their fathers were for the term of their lives. You hear that? For the term of their lives. So when you keep calling your children African Americans and blacks and Negroes, what does that mean? You fit the criteria of a slave into perpetuity. All right? And for as much as divers freeborn English women forgetful of their free condition, and to disgrace of our nation, marry Negro. It says our nation. It is, yes, it is not your it is not your land. Yes, you created an organization you call a nation on our land, but you see, once again, brothers and sisters, you see how they separate us from the institution that they have created, and you are dying to be a part of it. I'm going to read that again. And for as much as divers of freeborn English women, freeborn English women. So why would you use the term freeborn English women? What does that mean? It means that there is an opposite to every action. There is a reaction. So therefore, there were enslaved English women, but they will never tell you that, because if there weren't, they wouldn't use the word freeborn English women, because you wouldn't have anything to compare it to. Okay? For as much as divers freeborn English women, forgetful of their free condition, to the disgrace of our nation, marry a Negro slave, by which also divers suits may arise, touching the issue of such women, and a great damage befalls the masters of such Negroes for prevention whereof, for deterring such freeborn women from such shameful matches. Be it further enacted by the authority, advice, and the consent of aforesaid, that whosoever freeborn woman shall marry any slave from and after the last day of this present assembly shall serve the master of such slave during the life of her husband, and that all the issue of such freeborn women so married shall be slaves as their fathers were. And be it further enacted that all the issues of English or other freeborn women that have already married Negroes shall serve the masters of their parents till they be 30 years of age and no longer. Now, let us take a pause here. When we read, we have to read with understanding, my people. Let us go over this last paragraph or this last sentence, if I may. Okay? Let us read that. And when you read, I want you to open up your mind as to what you're reading. Okay? Look at what's being said. Let's break this down. Okay? And be it further enacted that all the issues of English, you hear that, of English or the freeborn women. Hold up. So if there were English freeborn women, who is the other freeborn women? That have already married a Negro. So therefore, there were other women, okay, who were not English women that married the Negroes who were considered Africans. Things that make you go, I wonder who are these women they're talking about. But of course, they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you that is the American Indian dark-skinned woman. They're not going to tell you that. But you see, in their story, you have to pick out your story. You feel me? That's why when our elders come on the platform and they speak and they use the term African American and black and they say Africans, and you see what I'm saying, is the indoctrination is real. So it's up to us to guide them. I'm not going to tear them down. I'm not going to call them coons. I'm not going to disrespect my elders. It is my job to bring them back home. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to advocate that either. Okay? I'm going to read that last part again. And be it further enacted that all issues of English or the freeborn women that have already married Negroes, going back to the elder, didn't his grandmother marry an African slave? Well, guess what? She would be considered to be that freeborn woman. Okay? The original American Indian. You did. That have already married Negroes shall serve the masters of their parents till they be 30 years of age and no longer. All right. Source: Proceedings and Act of General Assembly of Maryland, September 1664. All right. Brothers and sisters, man, it's right in our faces. Okay. It is right in our faces. And for those of you who who refuse to acknowledge the truth, that's on you. But all I could do is just bring the information to you. All right? And you do what you want with it. I cannot force you to do anything. I'm not going to force you to do anything because every man and woman has free will. However, I realize that your free will has been tampered with lies, okay, miseducation. So again, I choose it to be part of my obligation to bring you the information so that you can open up your eyes. Now, if you choose to remain, okay, in or allow cognitive dissonance to cripple you, then that's again is your free will. You feel me? That's it. All right. So let me just run up real quick to just go up the super chat, the chat, and I just want to acknowledge a few people that supported the super chat because I have to show my appreciation because they know this is a lot of work. It takes a lot of research, and that means that they value my time. I mean, not I'm saying that others don't, but at least they're reciprocating the love. You feel me? So let me just come down and show some acknowledgement. Okay, we have nonetheless, thank you for supporting the super chat, $19.99. That's very much appreciated. All right, thank you. Let me come down. Let me come down. Let me come down some more. Let us go down. Let us go down. Let us go down. It's cool. I gotta, show appreciation. So bear with me, guys. Bear with me, okay? Okay, give thanks to Aaliyah, for the 1999, support on that. That's also a high frequential number. All right, so give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. All right, and then we have Mind Games 2222. Much respect, much appreciated. All right, then we have Miss Mohawk Aboriginal. Thank you for looking up for the super chat. And I tell people, listen, it's not the amount that you give, is the intent, giving it from your heart, and that's what matters to me. I don't care if it's $1 that you support the super chat, it's fine. All right, it's so to me, 5, 10, 100, whatever, it's the same as $1. Okay, because it's all about the intent, just showing the appreciation. So that means a lot to me. All right, so thank you. A Blackman, thank you for the $5 super chat donation. That means a lot. Thank you as well. Just acknowledging you guys. All right. Is that the extent of it? Let me see. I think that may be, yeah. All right, cool. So yes, so here we go. So we back on track. All right. So I just wanted to bring that information to you guys. Now, some people may ask, well, Chief, now that you have given us that information, where do we go from here? Well, it's totally up to you. All right. However, I would tell you that you have the highest authority on this land. We have the highest authority on this land. We have the highest status on this land. All right. Which this is why it benefits them to take us outside of our proper standing. Because the moment we step back into our proper standing, in other words, our families, our indigenous families, okay, our indigenous clans, our indigenous bands, our indigenous nations, that means they lose every jurisdiction that they have over you. Going back to the whole concept of my home. Now that I'm stepping up and telling the people that I helped, no, this is my home. I'm going to put my foot down. Okay? They have to respect that. They have to respect that because there are galactic laws that are already put in place that they are not supposed to, or they can't, not supposed to, but they cannot, under any circumstances, violate your free will. All right? They could only do it because you volunteer. All right? Because it is voluntary. And if you volunteer your servitude, believe me, they will take advantage of it. Okay? So at the ending of the day, just wanted to, point that out. And for those of you, again, what is the answer, Chief? What do we do? Well, you start identifying yourself as who you are. not who they want you to be. Okay? Not who they want you to be, but who you are. Now, with that being said, it doesn't mean that I am encouraging my brothers and sisters or anybody to go out there and be lawless. Okay? That's not what I'm promoting, because there have to be some type of order. There is even order in the universe. But a lot of these statutes and codes are ridiculous. Okay? They don't apply to us. You feel me? They don't apply to us because they were not here before you came on my land. All right. So we are going. If we are going to deal with law, let's deal with natural law. Okay, common law, natural law. All right. The law that the Most High gave us, that the Most High put in our hearts and mind. You feel me? I don't have to go look at the statutes or codes or go read a Bible to tell me thou shalt not kill, because I have the essence of the Creator within me that guides me, that I should know I should not go take another life. All right? I know that because I'm in tune. So I don't need any book or any written codes to tell me that. You feel me? Typical example, look at animals, right? The best example I could use is a dog. All right? If a dog does something it's not supposed to do, even before the master, okay, make any type of attempt to reprimand the dog, you will see that the dog has this look in its eyes like, I know I messed up. It has this sorry look like, forgive me. Because you see, we all have this innate attribute in us that is the essence of the Great Spirit that tells us, it's called your conscience, that tells us when we have done things that's contrary to natural law. So codes and it's an illusion to keep you controlled, all right, for commercial gain, for personal gain. That's all it is. So I'm not promoting people to be lawless. No. You feel me? So I'm not saying go out there and disrespect people and defraud people and hurt people. I'm not promoting that. Although going through a red light or going through a stop sign, that's not unlawful. Okay? However, I'm not going to promote that either, because now you're putting other people's lives in danger. So I'm not going to promote this kind of behaviors. All right? Even if drinking and driving is not unlawful, but it's illegal, all right? I'm not going to encourage that because you're putting people's lives in danger. Okay, so we have to learn to be responsible for these policies to go away, because people are not responsible. People are hurting people intentionally. People are defrauding people intentionally. People are damaging people's property intentionally. Okay? So policies need to be put in place for those it applied to. You feel me? But I'm a law-abiding man. That means I know I'm not supposed to go out there and hurt people, damage people's property. All right? I'm just a man that's in my land, living a natural life. And that should be respected. And no codes and policies should be forced upon me. That means you are violating the rights that my Creator gave me. And I'm going to stand for that. Period. So for those of you who are asking what's next is learn how to be a man and a woman again. Okay? Learn how to be respectful. Learn how to be honorable. Okay? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Because we have forgotten this basic fundamental law of the universe. Treat people the way you want to be treated. So I will always promote order. I will almost promote law and real natural law, but I'm not going to promote a legal system. Okay? Not at all. And no man, no woman, no organization has authority over me. Okay? I only answer to the Creator. That's it. Period. That's the only authority over me. So if they choose to violate my rights because I stand on my rights and for my rights, then that's fine. Okay? You got the big guns, you could do that. Okay? You could overpower me physically, but spiritually, I'm a giant. You can't touch me. So I'm just here to stand on the facts and the truth, man. And that's it. So with that being said, I'm about to conclude the build. And thank you to each and every one of you for being a part of the build today. Within the next 24 hours, which would what you guys would be consider tomorrow, I'm gonna be doing a build with our brother Crumb Snatcher. So if you want to check his platform, it's Crumb Snatcher, which is CRUMB, Crumb Snatcher, SNACHER. No, it's NSNATCHER. Put that together, Crumb Snatcher. I will be on his platform again, within next sunrise around 5 or 6 p.m. So make sure you guys tune in and look forward to that. All right. For me, I'm just here doing the work of the Most High. That's it. And any man or woman or organization that feel like, you know what, I shouldn't be working on behalf of the Most High, then you know what? If you feel like, you have to violate me, then that's within your rights. But you do not have my permission or my consent to violate my rights. Okay, I'm not giving you any consent. All right, I'm not a subject of you or anybody else. All right, I'm not even a subject of the Most High. I'm a part of the Most High. The Most High is within me. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to continue to just stand in truth and walk in truth. All right, but I do wish that one day, I don't know if it's possible, that we all could live and learn to respect each other, respect each other's culture, all right, respect each other's space, all right. I just think that it's imperative that we get to a point in our lives, like the lies and all the miseducation. People already know the truth, all right. For those who know, they're still learning, but yes, it's already out there that we know that they are all lies. But for some reason, the people, the supposed powers there be, and I'm going to suppose it because they have no power over me, all right? They are still pushing the illusion. They don't want to let go. Allow the people to be free. I think that we would strive as a people, as a nation, okay, when truth, we live in truth and allow everybody the same opportunity that other people have, okay? So with that being said, I thank y'all, for being a part of this build. Thank you for sharing, the space, your energy with me. We will continue to do, the build with the matriarchs and bringing our children on. The plan is to try and make an attempt to do that every other week. All right. So we just got to keep promoting. All right. And let us always stay in the mode. And thank you, T God, for, putting that information out there, master student, what I mean? I'm not a master teacher. I'm always willing to learn. I don't know everything. As a matter of fact, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. So therefore I am making room for something. All right. So I'm going to repeat that. I don't know anything. So I am always making space for something, but something of substance, something that could uplift my people, build my people, let them know they are actually more than what they are presumed to be. The assumption that you are a slave, that you are the lowest, that you are second-class citizens, we will not accept that anymore because we know who we are. And you are going to respect us in our home. Believe that. In fact, well, not believe, know that. Okay? And I'm reaching out to my elders, my peers, and the younger generation, all the so-called thugs out there and the gangs. Know that this is your home. If you need a purpose in life and you want to fight for something, fight for your home. Just don't fight for a block, a turf. Okay? Fight for Turtle Island, the American continent. That's ours. It's our home. Let us stop fighting each other. Okay? I get it. Not all of us is going to unite at this present juncture in our existence. But there is enough of us to make a vast impact, okay, on colonization. You feel me? We are not going to stand for it anymore. It is time. It is our time. So thank you. Please share the information and let's put in this work. So I look forward to seeing you guys on the build I have with brother Scrum Snatcher, you know, within the next sunrise about 5 p.m. And I'll continue to bring that information to you guys. And I'm really so excited. I'm ecstatic because we have so many great things that's happening right now. All right. It's a beautiful time, like I said, to be alive. Don't miss it. I tell people you don't have to be in the front of the train, but just be on the train. Just be on the train. I'm not a leader of nobody. Okay. I don't want to lead nobody. I just want to give the information and walk with you. That's it. Okay. Walk with you. That's it. I just want to be able to have us together, man. That's it. All right. Loving and appreciating each other and building each other, man. That's my goal. You feel me? And knowing our true identity and telling the world our story. That's it. Okay. And once I believe, and in fact, not believe, I know that I will serve my purpose, because after I'm gone physically, I know that my words will continue to reign. And that's what I live for. All right. My energy being here with my people, uplifting my people. I love y'all. And I do hope you have a great continuation. Continue to love each other. Continue to build each other. We could only live in truth. It's only truth that's going to set us free. You could fool me, all right, and be disingenuous. You could fool me and don't have integrity. You could fool me and be a liar. You could fool me and be a deceiver. But one person you can't fool is yourself, because the intentions that you have, you know, all right? And just keep that in mind. The seeds that you plant within you is the same that you're going to receive, all right? So walk in truth is the only way to true enlightenment, all right? Talk to you guys later. Love, harmony, and wholesomeness and light. We'll talk soon.